Hello everyone, and welcome to another how-to service video on another Triang stroke Hornby motor. Before we actually get into it, I just want to show you something that I'm really chuffed about. Okay, have a look at this, guys. She's in lovely condition. You can see there, I'm looking at the monitor backwards again. It's a pain in the arse. Right, there we go. It's the transcontinental one, R55, but she's in lovely condition, as you can see. Absolutely gorgeous. The only one I haven't got now for my whole collection is the one which says Trans Australia on it. I'm not over fussed about that one because it's identical to this. It's yellow with the hazard stripes, etc. But yeah, I'm going to do a video soon featuring all of these running because since I did the video on the collection some time ago, I've added 3 more, and that's one of them. I've also got the blue one, the Victorian Railways blue one, and look at this one, guys. Look what I got here. That mother is a rare one. It's as rare as rocking horse crap, and she's lovely. Look, oh yeah. Look at that little man was stuck on the nose there, but I'll tell you all about these later when I do the video. I'm going to run them all together. So, but I'm very pleased to get this one. So yeah, got them all now. Cool. Right. Okay then, to the video itself and to the motor. Right now, actually, everybody's got their own way of doing things, but like I've said before, I like to use a clean, light coloured towel, stops things from rolling off, and basically see everything perfectly alright on it as well. And the usual tools, oil pan, tweezers, different types of screwdrivers, cutters. I use a old Triang power transformer there with a lead on it, and a couple of clock clips. Where did that come from? Croc clips, as you can see. Very handy for working with, that is. Also, I've got the lighter petrol, which I've told you about before. Oh, I'll get this camera right in a minute. It's really awkward. Yeah, lighter petrol, not the pressurised one. This is the fluid. This is great on almost all plastics. Doesn't do any damage, doesn't leave any marks. Soldering irons on, and of course we've got solder, etc. So we'll make a start. When it comes to servicing motors on model trains, or virtually any motor really, any DC motor anyway, the procedure is pretty much the same. It's not so different from motor to motor. The main differences is the style of the motor, the design and the shape of it, and how it's fitted to the locomotive, in this case being model trains. And I've already done the one on the XO4 motor, as you know, which is used for many years. I've also done one on the what they call the diesel bogie, which was used in all the transcontinental things, etc., and the smaller version, which was used in the diesel rail cars, blah blah blah. But there's still other motors that I haven't done, and I'm going to do this one today because I know that people out there have got these motors, and if you're not familiar with the way they actually are put together, it can be a bit of a daunting task. So today we're going to do the motor, which is called, the original name of it was actually called the Budd Bogie, which is the Budd diesel railcar bogie, although it has been used in other things. So now also it is used in that. Now that is pretty much mint. She's a rare one, that's for sure. Definitely sought after. Very good condition, and it's got the original stickers on her as well. And this one has got what they called originally, because it was designed mainly for the Budd rail car, but this one has got that motor in it. So I'm going to take the cover off, and I'm going to take the motor out and go through it with you and show you how to service one of these. Oh, and just briefly here, I did forget to mention the fact that not only is the motor that we're servicing today, not only is that style of motor in all the early Hymeks, along with it's also in the R352, the Budd diesel rail car. Like I say, the Hymek was just R758, Class 35. Now they're both Bobo, but they did actually still use the same motor assembly in R357, which is the A1A diesel Class 31, R751, I think, yes, which is the Class 37, and R351, which is the Class EM2, Electra, Pandora, etc. Now, all those three are Coco, but they have used the very same chassis, but a longer version of it. So the actual servicing for any of those other locos would be exactly the same. Okay, guys, right, here we are then. Covers off. First off, when you do decide to service one of these motors, you'll see it's held in with a U-shaped clip there, well, a U-shaped hole in the clip there. Whatever you do, don't undo that nut, not yet. You simply just lift this spring clip up when I can get the screwdriver under it. You lift it up over the top of the retaining piece there on the moulding. Just slide that out altogether, put a safe somewhere, and then the motor will now come out. Bearing in mind we've got wires soldered to it as well, which I'll come to in a couple of seconds. Now, not all of these motors not all of the trains that these motors were used in have the rear power pickup at the rear. This one has, which means you've got this extra pair of wires here soldered to the framework of the motor. Now, I'm going to take these off. Now, if you do this yourself, you must make a note of which one is on which side. Pretty simple, really, to do. Make a note of that. And the one way you can be remembering for sure is you'll see here. Let me get up to the camera for you. You'll see here on the top of the assembly there's a little well, it's a grounding link there, and that puts this to the negative side of the motor, and so obviously the black wire would have been on that side, but I know that from experience anyway. So, but don't forget to just make a note of where they are. Right, okay, I'll start stripping the motor and I'll talk you through it as I go on. Now, again referring to the retaining nut here, it's a natural tendency to want to take it off to strip the motor, but at this point we don't actually need to take it off. In fact, you might not need to take it off at all, depending on the condition of the whole assembly. Like I say, this is different to the other motors. It's got a complete spider assembly, and I'll show you. First of all, we're going to remove the magnet screw at the side, which is the usual thing. So we'll remove that, like so, and there's a little nut. That's a 8BA nut. We'll push the screw out from there when I can. Not letting me. Carefully. Right, a bit tight fit actually, this one. Just a little bit too tight. Okay, no worries. Don't think that. No, they're not going to do it. Feels like it's a bit tight on the magnet assembly for some reason or other. That's it, we got it. Okay, a little bit of force was needed there. Right, now, okay, watch. The whole assembly, straight off, all in one go. Now, as always, if you want to mark the magnet so that if you do have to take it out or it falls out, you can put it back into place. So, you just grab a pen, permanent pen, and I'll just mark that there so I know which side the magnet is in. If you haven't got a compass for checking this, it's a damn good idea to do that, otherwise your loco will go the wrong way if you put the magnet in backwards. Right, okay, so now we can see we've got the magnet assembly, which is very similar to the diesel bogie. You've got the worm drives, same, and then you've got the com, which is here, and that one's it's pretty black, I suppose. It's going to need a bit of a clean up, but we'll come back to that in a minute. This is the bit I want to show you. Now this is the whole assembly. It's some sort of spider assembly they call it. You'll see here now that the brushes are here, and they're held in place with this spring assembly on the top, which has now just all come undone, which is no bother because I want it out anyway. So I get that brush out there. Eventually the other one's holding it. Come on, today. Come on. Get the other one as well. Right, there we go. There we go, come on. Right, brushes are out. Okay, cool. Now, the reason I said to you don't have to take that nut off is because this copper assembly, as you can see, it's pushed in round the plastic moulding there. It comes along up over the top and it's hooked round that one there, and then it's got the same again that side, which then is your left and right pickup for the actual motor itself. So needs a bit of a clean, so we'll come back to doing that in a few seconds, and in the meantime I'm going to grab a cup of tea, so don't go away. Right, now I've just been examining this, and I think I'm going to strip it completely, just in case you have to do the same thing. I'll do it completely and I'll show you how to put it back together. Right, now the reason I want to take this apart, I'm hoping you're going to see this on the camera, is to get the angle right. The two parts of the spring that is there, hopefully you can see this, that's there, and that one's got the insulator on it. Those two parts there are actually bent forward slightly, which is putting the corner of the spring there, it's putting it onto the brush at a funny angle, and it's causing the brush to be cockled up. So I want to bend this spring back into line. This side's the worst of the two, so I'm going to have to take it off. But I've tried putting a screwdriver under it and trying to lever against it, but it's not working. So I'm going to take it completely to pieces and show you how to put it back together. Right, inside the magnet housing, there's a nut at the top. I don't know if you're going to see it on the camera, but trust me, there is a nut inside there. Yes, you've got it, and it's countersunk, it's flush inside the plastic moulding, so obviously you don't actually have to hold it because it's not going to go anywhere. So we're just going to take off this nut, hopefully not with that, just carefully just loosen it. Now I'm going to take it off carefully and show you the layout, how it works. Right, there's the nut off. Now you'll see you've got the negative connecting assembly there, which is on that side there, so it's like a washer with legs on it. Those two part of it fit over the plastic moulding. When I put it back together I'll show you in a bit more detail anyway. Right, so that's the grounding washer assembly there. Okay, now we've got the spring, which you can see is hooked over that plastic piece there as well. So we'll take off the spring. And now, what's very important, fibre insulating washer there, which not only insulates the screw and everything from shorting across the two sides, it also holds down these two parts of the spider, and you'll probably see that that one has now jumped up out of place. So it's definitely not right. So I'm going to take that off as well. Get the fibre one off. Now she is. There we go, and you can see now that's not in line. Look, it should be back there, but it's springing back, so it's going to need a little bit of TLC to get it right. Okay, and the screw may or may not drop out, so it hasn't dropped out yet anyway. Right, okay, have a quick break and I'll come back to you in a minute. Now both these two copper sections are actually identical, they're interchangeable, and the only thing that's holding them together is the cap capacitor here, which is soldered across them. So I've removed the cap there, and just to take this one section off and show you. So it's pretty delicate, so be careful with it. That's the copper section there, which we're going to clean up, and obviously I'll do the same with that one. Don't really need to take it off, but I'll clean it all up and I'll come back to you in a few seconds. So guys, what I'm going to do now is get the lighter fuel, which we've already spoken about, and I'm just going to pour it all over this because it's quite greasy and it's going to need a bit of a good clean. So get the old cotton buds out, good old cotton buds, let's give it a good clean. The one thing about the lighter petrol, it evaporates very quickly, which is good. It doesn't, like I say, do any damage. It's really quite good stuff. Get all the grease and crap off. Yep, getting there. Yep. But it's black inside there. Oh, not too bad. I've seen worse. It's always worse at one end, where the deposits are from the brushes being close by when it's running. So, yeah, that's the worst of it. Yeah, one cotton bud. Yeah, cool. Right. Okay, next job then. Dremel. Now guys, these copper sections are pretty delicate. Like I've already explained, it's very easy to bend them, so just be very careful with them. But you can see here what I'm going to do now. Not everybody will want to use a Dremel on something like this. I'm quite okay with doing that, but you can clean them up whichever way you want. But these two sections, oh, camera, these two sections here are obviously pickups that sit on the inside of one's pair of wheels. So, right, now you can see I've got my finger and I'm supporting that because the Dremel would rip it off if you hand-fisted with it. Now I'm okay at this, I'm okay to do this, so we just gently polish that leg up. It doesn't actually burn my finger, it's nothing that's actually painful. And you'll see now how it's cleaning up. You see it shining, look? And then I'll do the same with the other one. Again, just put some support behind it. And carefully polish it up. I'm not pressing, obviously. Minute amount of virtually no pressure really. So there you go, that's the other one done. Now, while I've got the Dremel on the go, I'm going to clean that bit up there as well. What we need to do to it, nice and carefully, need to clean up. And then I'm going to get the other piece. Now this is not supported by anything, it's obviously off the body now. So very carefully. Like I say, it's little or no pressure, just running it over very gently. Same on the other leg. Wire brushing the Dremel actually is very good at polishing things like this. It's not going to damage it, be careful, just be careful. Same thing there, that section. Yeah. Okay, that's that one done. Right, I'll come back to reshaping it in a minute. But while I've got the Dremel in my hand, I'll do the brushes. Okay. Very important that you do this. Can you see that? Camera focus, shining now. A bit more. The inside. Yep, a bit more. Yep, cool. That's good. And the other one. Yes, the wire brushing the Dremel is definitely a good tool for many things. You've just got to use it sensibly, that's all. You won't do any damage. Yep, happy with that. Oh, by the way, it's worth you getting yourself some spare Triang Hornby brushes because sometimes when you clean them like this, the actual carbon piece falls off. Nothing to do with the cleaning process, it just sometimes falls off. So it's always handy to have a couple of spare ones. Right, put that away safe. And right now, so we've cleaned the sections that are applicable on this, polished those legs up, and I'm going to reshape this one in a minute because they are a little bit bent out of shape. It's not a big deal, but straighten it up a little bit. Yep, cool. That one, yep. I'll reshape them a bit more before I put it in the loco anyway. Right, time for another quick break. Oh, the screw did fall out. You can see it's there, look. That's the one with the square flushed head on it. That's the one that fits into the black magnet assembly housing. Right, put that there as well with everything else. Right, back in a couple of ticks. Yeah, guys, I did forget to tell you, when you clean the copper assembly up, you'll notice that there's, like, if you look at the from that angle, you've got this cut out here and you've got another cut out there, but there's an extra piece there on that one, and that front face needs to be cleaned there. If I can hold this up to the camera, I'm hoping it's going to focus enough for you to be able to make it out. Come on. Yeah, you can see it just there. It's not focusing very well, but you can see it, it's there, that front edge there, because that's what the brush sits on. So you need to clean that little bit up there as well. Okay, cool. Now I'd like to point out to you, as regards putting the spider assemblies back on, the copper shapes here. So if you look very carefully, I'm going to try and hopefully get it so you can see it. If you look carefully on the end here, there's a little round, can you see that? Yep, there's a little round stud there and the moulding, and then there's a flat piece here which is like raised sort of, and that is there because when we put this on, you have to hook that under the raised piece, gently pushing it into place and then popping it down there's a hole there in the copper which then clips onto that little spigot there. Okay, so that's one side on. Now there's also mouldings here, you can see where that falls into place, so that should go there. It's now stayed in place because I've shaped it a little bit, and of course I've just got this end to do, which I'm hopefully going to do now. So just hold that there like that, and try and get that bit to go into place carefully. Come on, click, it's gone in. Now usually a good idea is to give that little pinch with the pliers like that, just to make sure it's sat. So now we've got both pieces. Oh, this bloody camera taking so long to focus. So now we've got that all put back together with the cleaned up assemblies in place there. So I'll just turn it round so you can see it. That's all done, ready to put back together. Right, have another quick break and then I'll piece it together and show you how exactly to put it back correctly. Alright guys, we're going to piece this section back together. I'm going to discuss it with you as I go through it to make sure that you've got the facts right, that you get it together correctly, otherwise you'll have a big problem. Right, as you know then, first one was the screw, which hopefully I'm going to drop back in. It did fall out eventually, sometimes they don't. Drop that back into place. Let's get onto the camera for you. Right, now that has now gone into the countersunk section at the bottom there. What I'm going to do is, you probably won't get your fingers in if they're big, but put it that way around, and I'm going to hold it in with my little finger. Oh, by the way, I don't know if you noticed earlier, but my hands were getting black, my nails were getting black with from all the crap and all the old oil and carbon off the brushes, and I wash my hands quite often before I put things back together like that. You don't get crap going back on. So there we go then, that's the washer, the nut bolt in place. I'll get it right in a minute. Right, next thing that goes on is the little insulating bush, as you can see there. Now it's got a cutout. I don't know if you're going to see it on the camera. Let me see if I can show you this. We'll just see if it works. Right, it's got a cutout on the side there, which is relevant, and it's also got a couple of lines down it where the spring has pressed into it over the years of being in. And what I tend to do with these is turn them over, which sort of straightens them out again a little bit. So it goes over. Get it right for you. Oh, it's hard to hold it in at the same time as well. Right, it goes over like that, and as you can see, hopefully, again, I'll point it out to you, you've got like a plastic piece there, and that cutout sits in that plastic piece. Right, next thing is the spring. Oh yes, by the way, you'll notice that this washer holds these down firmly as well as being isolated, so that the spring can't short onto each half. Right, so we put the spring in place. That too hooks over that plastic piece there at the back end, which again I hope you can see. Really difficult for me with this, with the camera being upside down, but I'm getting there. Right, now I've already straightened this spring out a little bit earlier because as I said to you at the beginning, it was a little bit bent. Now again, we're back to this retaining washer with legs on it, and it only goes in the one way. It goes with the leg, the conducting leg, pointing to my left, which could be your right, but it goes to the negative side and it sits on there like that, and it too has to go, I'm losing grip here, it too has to go with the feet, if we can call them feet, well, there's two prongs there, each side of that, trying to hold it, the screw's pushing me down, goes each side of that plastic lug there. So then we'll carefully put the nut on, hopefully, give it a couple of turns. I'm just going to line everything up again, it's coming off. It'll be alright once I get the nut down a little bit. Right, okay. Right, time to level everything up. There we go. Now you'll see now that it's all now levelled up. We've got the carbon fibre washer here, and that is round that plastic lug. The spring is hooked around that too. Then goes the flat washer with the leg, the ground leg here to the ground side of the motor unit, and the fork is over that plastic lug again to stop it all from turning. So we're just going to nip it up gently, make sure that the, right, And check this, can you see that? It's twisted itself. It's actually dropped out the square slightly. So what I'm going to do is just get it back again, if I can, with this. She's too tight, I have to loosen it off a bit. Probably have to rearrange everything again. Right, okay. Try and hold it a bit better. Right, this time, take two. Yeah, it's really quite fiddly to do. Right, I need to get that back round the other way. It's gone full circle. Come on, baby. Come on, up over there, round to there. This leg, by the way, is bent downward, so it puts a downward pressure there, obviously, to keep the good connection. Right, we're back in line. I think that's all stayed together this time. Yep, it's all stayed together, and I think the knot is fully seated at that. Yes, cool, that's good. So now we're going to give it a little nip up. It's not something you have to put stupidly tight, you just give it a firm nip like that. There we go. So that's the assembly, all cleaned, all ready to go back in. I've just got to solder the capacitor back on, but that's it, already cleaned up to go back in. So we'll move on in a few seconds. Now guys, we're going to carry on with the actual motor bogie itself. Now, very simple here. I want to take the wheels off to clean everything and check everything out properly. Now, the wheels are held in with that brass plate, as you can see there. Very, very simple. Now, the reason that's a brass plate is because most of these bogies have magnets around the wheels. It was called magnesium, and of course if you're running on steel track then it's great. If you're running on nickel track, well, it doesn't make any difference at all, but certainly improves the pulling when it's on steel track. So right, we're going to remove these two screws and get the plate out. So I'm sorry I have my hands in the way of the camera, trying not to do it. Right, take that one out first. Pretty simple job, obviously. Yes, the plate had to be brass. Well, it could have been plastic, I suppose, but it couldn't be steel because of the connection between the two magnets, which are under this plate, hopefully. I have seen them come through without the magnets on, but this one feels like it's got magnets in it. It's quite heavy. Have a look. Yes, it has. Now, again, it's worth noting which way these are on. So, before you take them out, and before you turn it the other way up, mark them like that, so you know that they were at the bottom. It doesn't matter if you put them in the opposite end, that doesn't make any difference, of course, but that's the way they were in on there. I will check that a bit later as well. So now we can carefully remove the wheels. There's one, and to the one there, brought the magnet out with it on that, and that one's quite tight. They're sitting in a trough. It should come out actually. It doesn't necessarily have to do, but yes, we're out. Okay, so got that out as well. So now we're going to clean this part of the motor up and obviously do the com and get it all spick and span again. So back in the tick. This is actually pretty crapped up, so I'm going to do the same as before. Just put some lighter fuel over everything. Not going to hurt anything with this at all. Right, usual cotton buds, and then just start to clean all the metal casting everywhere. So don't really need to show you this up at the camera. I'm sure you can work this one out for yourselves. Just get it all off. We'll go around underneath in a minute. Get this side. It's getting black now. So get this other side done. It's really good to use this stuff, is. Get in there. Yeah, I think we need a new cotton bud now. Get it underneath, get all this off here. I mean, you can use a cloth or whatever. I mean, I just like using cotton buds. You can get into the parts quite well with them as well, into the nooks and the crannies and the crevices, as they say. Yeah, so again, it sort of dries up quick and doesn't leave any mess behind. Gets it pretty clean. There you go. Right. Now what I'm going to do, I know a lot of people are against this. Well, now I say a lot of people, it has been mentioned to me in my servicing videos before, excuse me, that people don't like the idea of me using a wire brush in a Dremel on a commutator of a motor. Now I think I've got a couple of thumbs down on that video, or one of those videos with showing that, but I can only stress it again that I'm not putting a lot of pressure on, I'm putting virtually nothing on, and I have never ever damaged a motor in doing this. And if you look at the trains running on my YouTube channel, I think that speaks for itself. So right, Dremel again, here we go. Now I'm going to do this under a spyglass so I can really see it close up, and I don't think it will affect you seeing it, hopefully not, get the angle right for everybody concerned. Right, I can live with that if you guys can. Right, let's clean this up. All this is doing is polishing it. It's not even scratching it, it's just literally polishing it. It's very light, gentle. Just work your way round gently. I find that doing this on the commutator, I find it's better if you use an old bush that's worn right down like this one is. It's not got bristles sticking out everywhere. Not that it makes a lot of difference, but I find that an old one, which is worn, the bristles are all turned over slightly. It seems to just clean and polish that bit nicer than the com. So hopefully you can see this, guys. Oh, try me just a bit for you. And yet again, like I said before, looking at the bloody camera turned the opposite way around is so confusing. When you move your hand one way, it goes the other. You're trying to get your head around everything and watch what you're doing, think about what you're saying, and try to keep it in the camera shot for you. That looks pretty cool. Hopefully you should see that shining now. Come on, get it in the middle, John. Yeah, I think it's, come on. Oh dear. Yeah, it's nice and shiny. I'm sure you can see it there now anyway. Cool, I'm happy with that. We're now going to clean these parts here, which is all from the underneath. And by the way, I noticed that when I took these out, yes, I know I marked them, but one of them was actually in wrong. There's a way you can tell. It's really simple. I mean, if I do that and put them together, they're going to come together like that. But if I try it and turn one over, then we know it's wrong, pushing away. So you must actually put them back in like that. That's how they're going to go in, obviously, at each end of the axle. Right, we're going to clean these bits up. Dead simple. Bit of fluid. Because believe it or not, there's a lot of crap on the magnets. It's just the oil and all the grease and all that sort of thing. So I'll probably just do them on the towel, I think, really. Yeah, nice, a little bit black, not the end of the world. Yeah, that'll do me, that one. Same with that one. Yeah, that's the magnets. Ready to. In fact, if you've only got nickel track, it's probably not worth putting them back in. Although I suppose it's all extra weight, which is I suppose that's going to help as well. Not that they're really heavy, but you know where I'm coming from. Same thing with this. You give it a wipe over, clean up. Too fussy about it. Now I will point out to you that I don't know if you'll see it, but I've actually. Oh, you can see it. Just yeah, you can see it. Look, I've actually bowed it. Look, I've bowed it that way slightly. Because on these plates, the two screws are in the middle, which means the plate is going to flatten down properly when I tighten it up. Because of the way it works with holding the axles in place, it holds them in those troughs, which you can see are here, there. And over time, because it's pulled down there, it does tend to shake upwards slightly on the ends where the magnets are. And by just bending it slightly that way, it's like a new lease of life. It'll put it down flat and hold the axles really well, because the axles do start to shake a little bit if they're not well in with that. Right, okay, so we've done that. Same thing with the wheels. Nothing special, just give them a damn good wipe over. The fluid's done its job, keeping it clean and whatever. So now the other interesting point about these wheels is the fact that they're on a nylon axle. With the nylon cog, so you don't have to worry about which way around you put them in, which is one thing less to think about. So yeah, just give them a bit of a wipe over like so, and yeah, there's not a lot to do. This one's not too bad actually. I've seen them much worse, but yeah, okay, so that's the wheels done, and we'll put this all back together. No, we won't. Something else to do first. Right, I'll come back to that in a minute. Stay with me. Right, the reason that I've decided to do this first is because it's a lot easier to put the spider assembly on complete while it's like this. It's easy to do this now before we put the wheels back in. I'll explain why in a minute. Now obviously I tensioned these out. Now the pickups have all been tensioned out again a little bit, so when you come to put it back on, you've got to be careful and make sure that you drop the legs inside the chassis, so they're all tucked inside the chassis. I've missed one there, so that wasn't a good one. So that one, try again. Yep, got it that time. Right, that's it, that's in now, and we just need to screw that back up. So we'll get our long screw, which was a bit of a tight fit coming out, so hopefully, oh, it's gone back in a lot easier. Now the nut obviously is got its shape of a nut in the plastic moulding, so it'll grip itself once it drops in the line. So let's get that in like so. Get my scribe ruler and literally tighten it back up. You don't have to go mad with it, just firm. That's it. So that assembly's all back together now. I've still got the capacitor to solder on, but I'll do all the soldering in one go at the end. That's easier. So that's it for now. Well, now we'll concentrate on putting everything back underneath. Well, putting the wheels back in is a pretty simple job really. I will also point out to you that these wheels have got the extra, like this little piece of the axle sticking out there, because it actually runs on those two there on the edges, and it also runs on the actual section in the middle. There's 4 places where it has to sit in the actual casting. So you've got the 2 in the middle there, then you've got these 2 slots at the sides as well. Now one thing, I mean this is so simple to do, but one thing you've got to make sure you do is you've got to get hold of a pair, I'll try to get it onto the camera again, you've got to get hold of a pair of the pickups and squeeze them in while you drop the wheels in place, like so. Then you can let go, because they've obviously got to sit on the inside of the wheels there, like that. Well, that's one pairing, simple enough. So I'll turn it round, grab the other pair of, got those, and drop the other wheel assembly in, like so, and all 4 are connecting the wheels. Yes, they're all connecting fine, so they're all fine. Next then is obviously the magnets and the keep plate, which is really simple to do. So we'll just put one magnet in at that end. Now what you've got to watch out here, it sometimes tries to pull the wheels out. Right, so I'll get it, it's trying to pull itself out. That's it, I've got it now. Now another thing I've just spotted, there's a bit of wire off the wire brush stuck to that magnet there. I think I've got that. Oops, I've got that. Yep, got that. Right, the magnet is in place, and see what happens is, because the wheels are steel, it's trying to pull the wheels out of location. So we'll put that one in, trying to keep my fingers out of the way so you can see what I'm doing. Right, that's clicked into place now. Now they're both in. That's cool. So keep plate back in, back on. Get that lined up. Round about there is fine. Get a screw in it. It's really weird having to do this backwards with the monitor. I know I keep saying it, but it really is weird to do. And trying to keep my hands away from everything so you can see what I'm doing. It's a real pain. Anyway, we're getting there. Right, so let's get this one down. I'm not going to tighten it yet. I can just feel it's still slightly loose, which is fine, so I want it to be, till I get the other screw in as well. A little bit of spring in it where I bowed it slightly, but once these screws get to the bottom of the thread, they're going to pull it down beautiful and flat and keep those axles well in place, and the magnets of course as well. So right, nice and firm. And the next one. Nice and firm, but not overdone. Now she's pulled down lovely and flat, and there's no play in the axles now. That's perfect, just how I wanted it. Yep, absolutely wonderful. You see how flush it is there, look, it's lovely. Nice and flush. Yeah, cool, happy with that. Right, well, next job then, we're going to have to get the brushes back in. Putting brushes back in these things can be really fiddly, and it's going to be a little bit awkward to try and show you, but I'm going to have to sort of like do it, but my hands are going to get in the way, but I'll do what I can. Excuse me. Oh dear. I find the best way of doing it is to get hold of the brush with a pair of tweezers like so. Now the thing is, you've got to keep it quite tight, and you've also got to lever the spring across, because the brushes have to go down from the top. Now I tend to find the easiest way is to get a screwdriver onto the spring and bend it out the way. Now I don't know if you can see it, but I'm dropping the brush in through. Let's get it onto the comb like so. Now I don't know if you saw that, but it really is a bit fiddly to do it and being able to show it at the same time. But what I've done, simply show it from here, is I've got hold of the spring and bent it inwards while I dropped the brush through the hole, which is obviously there. Now what I've just put in has got the insulator on it, which is fine because that's the positive one, which we know, and then that's where it sits, is what I was telling you earlier. It has to sit on that bit of copper just there. See, I'm seeing it on the camera. Yeah, that's the bit where I told you have to clean that up, because the spring presses the brush onto that piece of copper off the spider assembly there. The other side one doesn't matter, because we want the spring to connect to it, because the spring, which is connected to that leg there, is on the negative side, so the spring will carry the negative to that brush, so that one doesn't have to lean against anything. So I'll put that one in, hopefully get hold of that like so. Get the screwdriver. Oh, you can probably use your finger to bend them out the way, but I find using a screwdriver is actually easier. Well, I'll say that. It says that. Reluctance. Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. Got it. We're in. They're both in. Well, I'll do the soldering in a bit, but the thing is here now, this loco, which is obviously what you saw, this is the rare Hymek one, I never actually ran this loco when I got it. I've had it a couple of weeks or more, and I never even actually tried the Bogie, so I don't even know if it's going to work. So it's fingers crossed that it does. But the one thing we mustn't forget before we go into powering it up is, quite simply, you need to oil the bearings, you need to oil the worm there. You can obviously do this from the bottom if you want, but that one there. Now I always oil the pads, obviously, but I always drop a little bit down the back, like that, direct onto the bearing, like that, and onto the pad there, and on the back there. You get some oil around them there. So I don't know whether you saw all that, but what I've done, I've oiled the worm drives, so I've got the two worm drives, and I've done the back, or the back of the bearing there, and the pad, and down in front of the bearing there at both ends. I think I forgot to do that pad. A bit more on it. Right, done. So now we're going to put some wires on it and see if it runs. And now, with the crock clips at the ready, we're going to see if she's going to work. Proof's in the pudding, a saying I always use a lot. So we've got the negative on that one. Doesn't matter which way around I do them, really. Oh, by the way, the chassis on these, it's not carrying the negative like on most of the Bogies. It's not really doing anything, the chassis, so we need to get direct onto the negative like that there, and then perhaps get onto the positive maybe just here. Let's get round, try and get that on there. Yep, got that. Right, there we go then, guys. Is she going to run? Hey, she's running. She's running. Hey. Right, we'll leave her going steady for a minute, let the oil get around. And by the way, I did forget to mention this to you, and I forgot to do it as well. I took the plate back off just before doing this, and I oiled 4 places, there, and the 2 each side of the cog for the axle. I forgot to do that. Forgot to show you. Must put some fresh oil on the axle, because the lighter fluid will have evaporated all the oil. So I did actually take that off and oil it before I started doing this. So there you are. She's running. Wicked. You can probably hear it. Right, let's try it the other way. Slow it down. Yep. Reverse. Yep. Cool. Faster. The oil should have got in there. Yeah. Flat out. Wonderbar. She's alive. It's alive. Okay. Right. I'll put this back down. Get rid of the crocky clips. Okay. Cool. Put that back down. That's about it, really. I think I'm going to solder the capacitor back on. The suppressor cap there. And we need to solder the wires back on from the pickups at the other bogie at the other end, and then put it back together. The job done. Right. Back in a tick. Right. I'm going to tin these up ready. So get the iron, get that, tin the cap first. I know they've been soldered before, but it's always best to use fresh solder and bring them back to life. Get that side bit there, got that. You can put that on there now, hopefully. Lovely. Lovely. And re-tin that one as well, because it's they don't always stay on. These things come off because the solder tends to dry up over time. I refreshed that one. I'll put some fresh tinting on these side bits where those wires go. There we go. Fresh bit on there as well. Yep, wonderbar. And what I am going to do with this Bogie, because I have had this happen before, and I know it sounds silly, but it is true. As I explained to you earlier, that leg there off this on this washer, basically, that leg there is to carry the negative from the this part of the spider assembly, the copper. It carries it up that leg onto the washer, and which is screwed down onto the spring, so it goes down the spring to the negative spring brush there, which you've already seen. But I've had it, even though that's tight and this leg is bent downwards, I've actually had it where that's not connecting, even though you've cleaned everything. So what I simply do with them now, and it's no big deal because you can get them off dead easy, is I actually soldered these in place. So I'll just do that. I'll just show you what I mean. Right. If I wanted to get that off again, that's dead easy to do. But I've actually soldered it in place between the leg and the actual spider assembly as well. So now cannot disconnect, in other words. Right. So that's about it, guys. I think we need to put her back in the loco, and yeah, job done. Right. Oh, we've got to put the yeah, we've got to put the wires back on from the back pickups. Now, I'm not very happy with these wires. They've been out off before. Obviously, somebody's had them off before, and they're really scruffy. I mean, they're bloody horrible, all that hanging on there. So we'll trim these down. There's no need to have wires this long. Bared off, so we'll just trim that bit off there, crap bit, and the same again here. Just trim that one down a tad. Right, lovely. I'm going to re-tin them ready. Right, that one, and the other one is done there. Right, okay, easy peasy. I'll put these back now. Now I know the negative is the one at the back. So we'll put the green one on here. Sorry if I'm getting in the way of it, but the only way I can do it. And carefully turn her over. Dot of spot one on the iron. Drop the black one onto the negative side there, which we've now trimmed down because it looked a mess. That's neater, looks better. And guys, that's it. All I've got to do now is put her over there like that. I've pulled the wires through anyway, you have to do that. They normally sit around that bit there, like sort of so, like that. Okay, well, stay down guys, stay down. And then to finish the job off, we put the circlip spring back into place. That's it, we're done. Lovely. Put its bonnet back on. I've got to sort that number's not very good on that. That one's not very good, and the one on the other end is missing. So I'm going to have to do that, but that's not such a big deal. We'll just put it back together. Get that in like so. Sorry, I'm trying to look what I'm doing again and not looking at the camera. Right, come on. Come on. Come on. Let's get that in like that. And the same with the other side. And we're done. There she is, guys. Sorted. Thanks for watching. Hope you found it helpful. Oh, by the way, I will point out to you, I've had loads of people asking me about doing a video on the Ringfield motor. So yes, I will definitely do one on the Ringfield motor soon as I can. And also I've got people asking me about soldering, so I will do a video on how to solder properly as well, so they should be coming quite soon. So once again, thanks for watching, take care of yourselves, bye guys, bye.